Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee and Cannoli. Joined once again by Campo Reviews over here. This episode, we're going to be talking about our favorite cartoons growing up. We just did the one last week about our favorite arcades. So sticking with that nostalgia factor, I decided let's do one about our favorite cartoons, maybe even favorite like kids shows in general growing up. So, Campo, let's start with some of your memories about your favorite cartoons growing up.
Well, let's start in a different way then.
Sure,
I'm gonna
absolutely.
I'm gonna steal your episode from you.
Go
So
for it, man.
before we get like deep into it, what's your like not naming any shows? What's your point of reference for watching cartoons as a kid? Like, did you get up really early to like Saturday mornings and watch cartoons?
I was totally that kid. I was up at the crack of dawn.
I
At
was
the
like,
crack of dawn every Saturday watching cartoons, because later in the day at lunchtime, when they used to take that break in the afternoon from 12 to 1, my parents would have to do some stuff in the afternoon. So they'd send me over to my grandfather's house right next to your grandmother's house. They were his grandparents and my grandparents literally lived next door to each other. So that's how we know each other. But yeah, so in the afternoon, and then the afternoon I'd spend watching cartoons at my grandfather's place.
I
Well,
would say most of my cartoons came from lunch break because I went to school right next to my house,
right.
and from after school because I was never, even till I don't like to get up early, so I would never get up, and like I would catch like the later cartoons, the ones that were on like at 10, 11, like X-Men and stuff, like when it was for
Yeah.
the older audience,
The
not like the
Spider-Man, X-Men, the
yeah,
Tick. Yeah,
and then like
fantastic.
early morning cartoons. So that's like where we'll let
Like pre-going to school kind of
yeah,
thing.
like so like when my grandmother would come stay with us, or my other grandmother,
Yeah.
she would get us up early at like 6 a.m. So I would have like 3 hours in the morning to do nothing, and I would watch like whatever was on, and happened to be, which I'll reference, my one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Like, when it comes to fanboying out for things, this is one of the rare things that I do. Like, people are like, Marvel, Star Wars. No, I'm not that guy. I'm ScoobyDoo. Is
Yeah.
like, I used to watch. I've seen the original ScoobyDoo series like probably like 100 times each episode.
Yeah.
And every morning it would play Scooby-Doo, Beetleborgs, VR Troopers,
VR Troopers. Nice. Nice.
and,
Nice.
and that's like what I watched, right? But
Yeah. I think Scooby-Doo recently does not get enough love.
the movies are really good.
The current ones.
The animated
Yeah, the
movies.
animated. I think Scooby-Doo kind of fell by the wayside after some of those terrible live action films.
Yeah, it got abused. The IP was abused.
Yeah.
It came out as like a house of fire with like the first seven animated movies that they made.
Yeah.
And then they started just churning out garbage again. And then it started to pick up. It got really good. And the last like two or three were just okay. And I kind of feel like they're doing it again where they're just abusing the IP.
Running out of ideas.
Yeah.
I think the resurgence of Scooby-Doo, I want to give a little bit of credit to Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
He really cares for that character as Shaggy.
He's very good as Shaggy as well.
And he cares for that character. And you can hear it when he plays Shaggy that this is something that's near and dear to him. And, you know, yeah, he started off as Shaggy in the movies, but he's become Shaggy.
I believe he's the only one that ever came back.
Yes.
I don't think any of the other ones ever did.
I could be mistaken, but I think Freddie Prinze may have.
Maybe. Yeah, there's a chance.
Because like, I know Freddie Prinze does animated voices now too.
He didn't just do like the movies that were coming out. He's still doing it. He was doing the shows, which is like, I'm sure you don't get paid a lot to voice Shaggy on a Saturday morning Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yeah. So I think Scooby-Doo is, I agree with you. If you want to stick with that early morning, me being a little older, I was like, when I used to wake up to go to school, it's not a cartoon, but I used to watch The Hilarious House of Frightenstein.
Okay, I know what that is. I've never watched it, but I know what it is.
And the Hercules cartoon from the 60s, but it would air a lot in the 80s.
I remember that.
Like, I just remember him putting on the ring and like with the Thunderbolt.
I remember the intro.
Yeah.
It was borderline He-Man-ish.
Yes, which that is probably one of my favorite cartoons of all time was He-Man.
I like, me and Nick, our Caps, did a whole thing about this, and like I don't dislike He-Man, but I never really got into it. Maybe it's a little bit before me.
Yeah, that's probably when there wasn't much selection to it. He-Man was really like, but go on, sorry.
My 80s stuff was like my like your maybe age group of 80s stuff that for me was like G.I. Joe and Transformers.
That was
I don't
my
think
after
I really
school,
liked anything else.
For me, like that was after school. I would come home, it'd be Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Thundercats.
Yeah. Thundercats is a good one too. Thundercats is really underrated.
Yeah.
There's also like, it didn't last for too long, but there was a period of time where the Super Mario Brothers Super Show or whatever it was called,
with Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, and then you had Zelda, which was terrible.
Yeah.
Princess.
Yeah. I just still like Captain Lou. It's the Super Mario Super Show.
Yeah, that was great. And then there was one other show that they did, Captain N,
which was not officially licensed by Nintendo. Hence the reason why they couldn't use Nintendo in the title.
It had the guy from Simon's Quest, I think, in it, from
Belmont.
Castlevania. Yeah, and it had like a couple of characters, and that was a cool show. He very much looked like James Bond Jr., which is another show I want to.
Another great show. Even the Godzilla cartoon show, I kind of didn't mind.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that.
That wasn't that bad.
Godzilla, the cartoon was like Men in Black, the cartoon. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I remember.
It was
Men
like
in Black
the same
cartoon.
animators and like the same voice cast, and like everything was the same.
Ian Ziering.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to go midday afternoon, then I guess we got to dive into the Disney afternoon as well.
Do you want to go full Disney?
Or were you? We can go full Disney if you want to go full Disney.
I would say, like, my afternoon watching is very wide. So we can go Disney. We can go Disney because Disney had I don't remember what it was called. Was it the Power Hour or something? Or
yeah, I think they called it the Disney Afternoon.
Disney Afternoon.
Because there was like 4 or 5 shows.
You had
Gummy Bears.
You had Gummy Bears. You had DuckTales.
Yeah, that was a big one for
Tailspin.
Chip and
Dale. The Scrooge. What's the Scrooge one called? That's DuckTales. Sorry,
that's DuckTales. Yeah, we're thinking maybe Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck. Yeah, Darkwing Duck is banging. I'm so cheesed because I bought Darkwing Duck. They had volume 1 and volume 2. I hate when shows do that. Just call it a season.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that anime doesn't really have seasons, but they have segments of like storylines where you can make it into seasons. Why would you release Darkwing Duck as 3 volumes? And there is no 3rd volume. You can't buy it. It doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
I bought 1 and 2 and I can't ever own 3. Like, oh, come on. Like,
that happened to me twice with G.I. Joe. I bought season 1 and season 2 of G.I. Joe, but season 2 was season 2.1 and they never released 2.2.
Yeah.
And then they released another set before, I think it was Rhino Entertainment had the license for it. And then another company got it. They released season 1 and then they never released season 2.
Yeah, there's some good music on Rhino's YouTube channel if you guys like
go
80s
check
music.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with that, and it's kind of stupid to do that, period. But like, I mean, there was a lot of good shows in that thing because it evolved over time. So my watching of it might have grown out of where you are at this point. So like Goof Troop, and there was a show with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Quack Attack, I think it was called.
Something like that. Yeah, I remember that. I kind of stopped after like Darkwing Duck was towards the end for me.
Yeah. So okay. So that would have been like mid 90s.
Yeah. Early mid.
Then you had so what did I say? Goof Troop and Quack Attack, and then you had the Mighty Ducks animated series, which was dope. Which let's segue this. Unless you have any other Disney stuff.
No, I'm good with Disney. Gargoyles.
Oh, Gargoyles.
Was Gargoyles Disney? Yeah, Gargoyles was Disney, right?
Gargoyles was Disney, but on Fox.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think.
And now it's all Disney anyway.
DC was on Fox as well.
Yes, because Fox Warner.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we'll go this way. So let's go into the like anthropomorphic 4 characters in the show thing. So Mighty Ducks, which there was 6 of them, but then you had Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah, that's another underrated cartoon show.
Yeah, it didn't last long. That's why.
No,
it was only like 20 episodes, I think.
It was a comic originally.
Yeah, and then you had what's the video game with the frogs?
Frogger?
No, the one with the 3. It was like really hard.
Oh, Battletoads.
Battletoads. I can't believe I didn't remember that. You had Battletoads. You had Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah, another underrated show.
Yeah.
You posted all those on your Insta recently. I remember that.
I fell down a rabbit hole. You had Street Sharks.
Yeah, Street Sharks was another one that was in the vein of like the like you said, anthropomorphic, like spawning off of the success of Ninja Turtles. You had all these.
That Ninja Turtles as well. Well, we're gonna. That's where I was going to lead to.
That's a story for another day, I guess.
We'll chat.
We can chat a bit about Ninja Turtles. Yeah,
but a Mandela effect happened to me with Street Sharks. Okay. Where we like over the years we always talk about this because me and Bargo Anthony we talk about like old cartoons that we used to watch.
Yeah.
And we always talk about roller sharks. So we spent years trying to find roller sharks, only to find out a couple of days ago that it's called Street Sharks. But we don't ever remember it being called Street Sharks.
Why roller? I guess there was a shark on rollerblades, right?
There was one that had rollerblades, and then now when I saw the picture, I was like, why did we ever think it was called roller sharks? One has a motorcycle. Like, there's only one guy that wears rollerblades. He was the coolest one.
He was, yeah, of course.
But Biker Mice from Mars was a really good show.
Underrated, completely underrated.
Street Sharks sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good show, that one, but it was fun.
Nostalgia, but
looking back with rose-colored glasses, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's like those were all good shows. Like I would rewatch Bucky O'Hare, which was based on a video game, was basically Star Fox.
It was a comic.
Based on a comic, but then there was games about it after. Yes. But it was basically Star Fox.
Essentially, yeah.
Like in the general idea of the show, and that's what I liked about it.
The only difference was it was a kid that was transported to that dimension, right, or something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
But it was all about space and like space fighting, and
he was like a Han Solo type of character.
Yes, yeah, and there were similar characters too. There was like a pig and like a dog and whatever.
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles.
That's where it all came from. Ninja Turtles was probably one of the best cartoons to ever come out of the 80s. Would be, I would say, Ninja Turtles. Early Ninja Turtles, because towards the end, because how many seasons were there? Like 15?
That's where I want to go. Okay, so wait, before you say it, let me just tell you. So I bought the box set.
Yeah. The one with the turtle van,
and it had all the DVDs lined up in it. It's so cool. I loved it. It took me literally like 2 years to finish watching it, and I kept thinking, like, because the way animated shows work nowadays, or like anime, it's going to go down the line and the visuals are going to get better. The stories are going to get better because that's what happens. No, it gets so much worse after like season 7 or 6. I think there's 11 seasons.
Yeah.
After like season 7, it completely falls off a bridge into like absolutely ridiculous.
Jumps
the animation gets worse. And it became like a full-on kids show, which I have another show that we'll get to in a second that did the same thing.
But it was also the fact that they were just churning out action figure after action figure.
And that's all it was based on.
And that's all the show was doing at that point. Let's strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And just make as much money off this franchise as we can.
Which, good on it. It was great. Yeah. It spawned the movies. I love that show. I own it. It's Ninja Turtles are in my fanboy factor of like
they're in my wheelhouse.
Batman, Ninja Turtles, ScoobyDoo, James Bond, and like I don't know another one right now, but that's like what I fanboy for. I don't care about anything else really. But it's like they made the comic book, okay? They tried to strike at how good the comic sales were doing, not realizing that the audience for the comics was a lot older than the cartoon show they were making.
Yeah.
So they never lined up. The fans of the comic book from that era didn't like the cartoon, and the cartoon fans were way too young to read this comic book that was like super dark and gritty.
Yeah. See, I was kind of at that perfect age where I was getting into comics, getting into a little bit more mature comics, but I was still young enough to appreciate the cartoon.
But you're a rare fan.
I'm that rare fan, yeah. So I was in that perfect wheelhouse for that.
I would say at that point, most of the people reading the comic were probably like 20. So they were not going to watch this children's cartoon. And the kids were like, you were like right at that point where it was
I was 12, 13. Yeah.
And that show was a banger. Like, and all the video games, they had so many good video games. And
yeah. In the last episode, we talked about that Turtles, the arcade game. It's fantastic.
How have they not abused this IP in the video game industry? And I'm not
Yeah.
saying I want that, but like you're pumping out Batman games and Spider-Man games. Where the hell is like a city wide open Ninja Turtles game where you play
Think
as all
about
of
it.
them?
Take Insomniac's New York City, like from their Spider-Man
Yeah.
games. You throw in like the mechanics of Batman Arkham City into this
Yeah.
game,
And then you
like
put the turtles.
you put the turtles.
And the sick thing would be
You can make it dark, or you
in
can make it like
Spider-Man, you spend most of your time swinging around. You never really stay on the ground. Ninja Turtles would have a whole new aspect in this world because you spend
In the
most of the
sewers.
time in the sewers on the ground
or on
walking
rooftops.
around. So, and you could make this like we're pitching an idea here. This
Yeah.
is good.
Konami, I think you still have the IP, right?
You can only go out at night. Okay, you can come out in the day, but you have to wear disguise. And if you don't wear disguise, heat builds up on you, and then you get like arrested or something from walking around. And you could have a whole aspect like that.
There can have like a meter that fills up as
you
you're
can
walking.
only stay out in the daylight for so long before someone notices.
Yeah,
a Blade game, you know.
Yeah, yeah, like it's like, I feel like it's a franchise that's overlooked. It is like in terms of the video game market. There have been, and the thing is, there haven't been very many good Ninja Turtle games.
No.
Like
okay, no, there was, but post 16-bit era, there was nothing.
The only one I really, really liked was the first one. I think it came out on the PS2. The first one in like that Nickelodeon trilogy. I think it was Out of the Shadows or something like that.
I'm trying to remember. Was it the cartoon where they were 3D animated?
The one prior to that one.
So it was the one where they were like darker characters and they looked more gritty. Yeah, that game is good. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was on the PS2. It came out around the same time as the original Lego Star Wars game, and those were two games I played nonstop.
Yeah,
because my brother and I.
Those are both good. Like you could make Ninja Turtles Lego. What? Imagine all they have a villain category as deep as Spider-Man and Batman.
Yeah,
you can pull villains out of it forever. And I just don't get it. And you could do dark. You can go dark with Ninja Turtles because the comic book. You could imagine making a game where the graphics look like the old comic book, and it's black and white, and the only thing that's colored are their masks. Yeah, that would be so cool. Like
or like if they really, really want to monetize something, sell the skins, 80s skin, Nickelodeon.
How have they not tried to get into Fortnite?
Yeah, that too. Like you just showed me, they're bringing in Rick Sanchez.
It looks really cool too.
And they're bringing in Rick Sanchez, and now they're bringing in Superman into Fortnite. And it's like, you're right. The only time I've seen them done well is in the Injustice 2 video game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think you imagine this. Okay, so you release the Turtles in Fortnite. You're getting a whole new generation of kids to learn about the Turtles. And then you can have it so you can unlock 5 skins. You can have the black and white one, the original cartoon, the next cartoon, the movie outfits. Then the movie outfits, and there you go. That's it. You don't have to do anything else because the other movies don't exist.
Yeah.
But saving it for another episode.
Yeah.
But okay, so continuing with that, another show to me that I really, really like. This was going back to my early morning cartoons with ScoobyDoo. Mm-hmm. This always played. And there was 2 versions of it. And the first version, it starts off like a really awesome cartoon, but then it got way too childish. So it's the Real Ghostbusters.
Yes.
And then when it became Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, the show completely went downhill.
That jumped the shark as well, yeah.
But the Real Ghostbusters was awesome. The animation of the monsters is crazy.
It was creepy. Like that was some of my that was that block in the morning for me. It was the Real Ghostbusters, and then right away it was followed by the Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies was dope.
Yeah, Muppet Babies was fantastic. But but going back to touching on the Real Ghostbusters, like for me, it was like because I was old enough to have seen the movie too, so I didn't understand why these characters were wearing different uniforms from the movie. And
I saw the movies first.
Okay, so you saw the movies first as well, then. So for me, it took a little bit of let's take it at face value and what it is, and also you have the voice of Dave Coulier. Yeah.
Okay. So and then Who did he voice though?
I think he was Venkman for a while, and then he moved over to Ray, and then he left.
Yes, okay, because then the guy who voiced Venkman
was Garfield,
and Bill Murray played Venkman and Real Garfield. So isn't that like crazy?
Full circle.
Yeah. But that I still do. I bought the set from Walmart when they had it on sale.
Yeah.
But the only thing I have is that set's not complete. It's missing the Slimer seasons, and it's missing a couple of random. Like, it's so stupid. It has like 100 episodes on it. Why wouldn't you put the other 10 episodes in it that you're missing from the show? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I never understood why they do that. For me, the thing that happened was for me when I bought the Voltron series.
I've never been into Voltron, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, but because I'm a little bit older, that started my fascination with like Japanese cartoons. Right. So that was like, I wouldn't call that exactly anime, but that kind of started towards it.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, because then I watched Battle of the Planets, G-Force, which led to Evangelion and like Aeon Flux. Well, Aeon Flux was more of an MTV show, but like
that's American anime.
Yeah, but I mean, it led to that expansion of watching. Oh, Americans are not the only ones that make cartoons. There's cartoons from all over the world. Go on. Sorry, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, you go. Finish.
Yeah, and then it led into like. Then I started going back and watching like Fist of the North Star.
That's not. I want to watch that so bad. It's one that everyone always tells me about. That it's insane. It's so brutal, and like I can't buy it or find it anywhere, and I just want to watch it.
And then after that, that's what led me into watching Miyazaki films. Right,
and Miyazaki is dope.
Right. And then I started watching Miyazaki films. Then I started realizing there were like production studios where the French and Japanese would get together making cartoon shows. And then you had stuff like Lupin and Belle and Sebastian and stuff like that.
That's exactly what I was going. And this is the funny part. Lupin is based on a French like detective comic type thing. And it's made in Japan. The biggest audience for it is in Italy. It's still the biggest anime of all time in Italy. Like people still, if you go there and talk to them about Lupin, they will know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you have to Lupin the Third. Yeah, it's huge in Italy. I was there a few years ago, and my cousins they still watch it.
Yeah,
they still watch it.
It's huge, man. And not to mention, you had Miyazaki did one of the seasons of the short run seasons of the show, and he did the movie Castle of Caligari, I think it's called.
Yeah, the Caligari. Yeah,
and like that okay, so my entrance into anime like unknowingly was Speed Racer and Lupin, and I didn't know that because I didn't understand that, but like my real one when I knew what I was watching was Sailor Moon. So Sailor Moon would play, I would come home for lunch and it would be Sailor Moon and then Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z,
the original Dragon Ball.
And to me still I think that's the far superior version of Dragon Ball, because it was all about the adventure and where they were going. Now it's just constant a fight that lasts for like, I still love it, but but then I learned about Dragon Ball Z. So this is like, first of all, I love Sailor Moon. Good luck buying it. A half season is $70. I currently own 1.5 seasons.
Just torrent it.
I need to own it.
Yeah.
But so then I would say Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z, and then Pokemon came.
Yeah.
And then Digimon, and then Monster Rancher, and then like there was a couple other little ones, and then Gundam was really big, but I don't like mech shows. I went back recently and watched a show that I had put off for years because I hate mech animes.
Right.
And Evangelion is like one of the best things I've ever watched in any form of media ever. It's
Gundam,
so unbelievably good.
I know some people like you talk about Gundam and they're diehard for Gundam.
I hate it. I don't get it.
It's not that I hate it. It's I can't get into it because there's so many different iterations of Gundam that they branch off into too many different things that you really have to be part of that lore and really invest yourself into that Gundam lore to be able to get into it. The designs of the mech suits are phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean,
so cool.
The anime is good in it. The animation is good. It's like I just don't care about mech anime. Like that's a whole genre of anime if anyone doesn't know, and it's not my thing. But I know that people love that, and it was really big. And Sailor Moon doesn't have as long of a run as Gundam, but every season it changed the name. Like that's the hard part with
Sailor
anime.
Moon S, Sailor Moon R.
It started off as Sailor Moon S, then it became R, then it became like R plus, and then like Super and Super S, and it was like it's the same show, it's the same run, but every time they finish the storyline, they change the name of the show, and it makes it hard because then there's movies. There's the Sailor Moon R movies, the Sailor Moon S movies, the Sailor Moon Super movies, and it's like
it's almost as confusing as Gundam.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball it did change the names, but it was completely linear, and you can easily follow it. Dragon Ball goes to Z, which goes to Super, unless you count GT, which is in
Nobody
between.
does. Even Super kind of retcon GT. GT never happens.
Well, Toriyama, who makes it, in an interview recently, because he came back to make Super. He didn't make Dragon Ball Z. He made Dragon Ball and he made Super, and they just used his his manga to make Z. He was not part of making the show. That's why it's so...
At the beginning, it says based on characters created by Akira Toriyama.
And every couple of episodes, they had like 5 different studios making the animation. So the animation changes like every 5 episodes because they had to pump out the episodes so fast to catch up. It's just like, it's crazy.
Well, you can see the difference from, say, if you start not just like they start with the Saiyan saga, and then they move into the Namek saga with Frieza. You see from Frieza, and then you see Boo. It's like completely different. It's like you're watching a different show.
Even there's a couple episodes randomly in there in the Frieza saga where Vegeta and like Goku look like completely different people.
Because Vegeta has red hair at one point.
They had to struggle and bring someone in to do it. Yeah, and Bulma's hair, that's what the whole thing about Bulma's hair. It never really changed from the original color, but because the other animators came in, they didn't know what color to do it, so they just made it like purple. And they're like, this is what color her hair is, but everyone's like, no. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, but he said in an interview that to him, he doesn't find GT, which he also didn't work on, as like a disgrace, which most Dragon Ball fans do. He sees it as, he now considers it canon, but it's canon as an alternate timeline where Cell wins, where Cell wins the battle. And now, so you can watch that and you don't have to feel like I'm watching this for no reason. Now there is. If Cell had won, this is where the universe would have went. But he didn't in the main story. And I was like, that's really cool. I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They split the timeline.
And people always thought he hated it. But he's like, I grew to love it because it makes so much sense. If Cell won, that's what would have happened. The world would have been destroyed.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic... I missed that interview. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great idea.
I thought that was really cool.
It wasn't a bad show. Like
the second half of it was better than the first half.
Yeah, which one was it? Where Vegeta gets taken over by Baby? Was that the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That one wasn't bad. I didn't mind that.
Anything's better than the Garlic Junior saga. Like
that one was the worst.
Why does that exist in Dragon Ball Z? Like Dragon Ball Z has so much filler. It's such, if you're gonna watch
the movies are all filler if you really think about it, because then they just retell the story in a different way.
They're actually not, none of the movies in Dragon Ball Z are canon.
Yeah.
The only movie that's canon is Super Broly. Is the only one.
The most recent Super Broly.
Yeah.
Not the one from a few years ago.
The other one was called
There was Bio
Broly, Return of Broly, and whatever. But and wow, we got off on a tangent there.
Yeah,
but Dragon Ball is like a big part of my life. I love Dragon Ball, but I'm willing to admit, as someone who watches anime, that it's not even probably top 100 animes. Like,
no,
it's so poorly written. It's crazy. But
do yourself a favor. Go read the manga.
Yeah, and if you're gonna watch Dragon Ball Z, watch Kai, Super Kai, because it just shows you, it cuts out like I think 100 episodes from of filler. It just tells you everything you need to know as fast as possible without wasting any time.
There was an episode, I remember there was that stretch on the Frieza saga. It was like 10 episodes where Goku's just trying to build a spirit bomb and then he misses.
There's like 5 episodes of Goku powering up, like just like,
or regular juxtaposition on their stand kind of thing.
It was how many episodes how much money can we make without actually doing any animation? We'll just reuse the same animation.
Powering up animation.
But that's what anime is about. Anime is about making a cartoon for the cheapest amount of money possible, reusing the same things. I mean, I'm really into anime now, but we're talking childhood stuff, so that's why I didn't go any farther.
If you really want to split from, there's a couple points I want to touch on after Dragon Ball. One of them was Digimon. Digimon was such an underrated cartoon show. Everybody was on this Pokemon hype train that Digimon fell by the wayside. And have you watched the Digimon movie?
No, I haven't, but I heard it's very good.
It's really, really good. The original Digimon movie, where it's kind of transitions between season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
And that movie is fantastic. Like I would say it's better than most of the Pokemon films out there.
Well, okay, let's be honest. Pokemon has the first one, which is
Yeah.
nostalgic, and then the third one, which is like the best Pokemon movie, and then everything
Yeah.
else sucks. Well,
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu is dope.
Well, that's not part of that universe,
Yeah,
though, is
well,
it?
Detective
So,
Pikachu is neck and neck with Sonic for the best on a
video
video
game
game movie.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. And going back to watch Pokemon, I own season 1. I might buy season 2, which I think is Kanto or something like
Yes,
that.
the Kanto region.
Oh no, wait, is Kanto the first one?
Kanto.
The islands, Orange,
Yeah.
whatever.
I can't remember, but it's been a year since I played Pokemon.
When season 2 comes out, I might buy that, but I won't go any further because I don't even like the original one enough. Like I've rewatched it twice now, and it's kind of stupid, but it's just a nostalgia thing. I just want to own it. It's like Sailor Moon. I might not buy all of them. I might just buy the end of season 2, which is what I'm missing, and just have the first 2 seasons because that's what I really watched.
Yeah.
After that, it was just like episode here, episode there, and I mean, Pokemon is good. A super underrated one that I bought is Monster Rancher.
Yeah,
it's not as good as Digimon, and it's not as good looking as Pokemon is, but it's just a fun show where they had it, and it's based on a game, if nobody knows, for PlayStation, where so in the show they'll put a PlayStation disc in a PlayStation and they turn it on and it makes the character, and then you'll get a new sidekick with you. And that's what it was all about. And I just remember watching it as a kid and seeing the PlayStation in the game, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Right. But but touching back, like, I mean, and the thing with Digimon too, it's so hard to find. It's so difficult to find the seasons.
I've been trying to buy the whole original series, and
there's three seasons in it?
I think so. I think it's 3. I haven't seen it for less than $120, and that's on DVD.
Yeah, not even Blu-ray.
One time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit. I'm going to buy it. They opened a Sunrise Records at the mall, and it was only there for like 1 month. It was right before COVID, and it was on the shelf. It was $105.99 or something like that.
I would have taken it
on Blu-ray, and I was like, you know what? I'll wait because Amazon seemed like the price was slowly dropping, and I'm like, I'll get it on Amazon. I went back the next day to buy it. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to buy it. And it was gone. And I was so mad. I've never been that mad ever.
Yeah, it was people go back if you can watch Digimon. It's great storytelling. It's great. And the animation was really, really good too.
Yeah, it was way better than Pokemon.
And the way they introduced the Digimon was really good too. Like they would remember their name would flash across the screen kind of thing. And it's like you knew who they were.
Agumon!
Yeah, Agumon.
Yeah.
But it's like, the names would, Apemon. It was like so many Bukakimon.
I just realized that. You walked right by it.
It's just a set of testicles.
Sorry, Mom, if you watch this. I know you won't.
But and then going off that Dragon Ball one, I want to talk about some of the cartoons from the early 90s that were more either, I guess, teen to adult oriented. You had your Batman animated series.
My favorite show.
Yeah. It was so dark, but funny and well written. Paul Dini is an absolute genius when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was so well animated. Like they had the shadow effects so well in that. Like they brought back for an episode, they brought back Adam West as the Gray Ghost.
Which was a really cool. They introduced so many characters that didn't exist before. That
Harley Quinn came off of that.
Harley Quinn, Gray Ghost. There was a few others. Like I'm not going to go into naming things, but there's a lot if you go look at it.
And even sorry, go ahead. No,
go.
You go. Go ahead.
Well,
sorry.
Are you going to stay on Batman?
Yeah. I'm staying on Batman for a while.
So stay on Batman.
What I want to say is the character of Mr. Freeze. Who was such a joke character. He was a very minor character in the Batman universe. And when they had that backstory about him and Nora and what he was doing for his wife, he's a villain, but you feel sympathy for this villain.
Yeah, and the movie that for him is really good.
Yeah, and it's like that's probably one of my favorite episodes of Batman completely. Like it's just so well written, has such feeling to it that
it's often rated as like the highest between that and then that one where they talk about how they almost got Batman. I forget what it's called.
Almost got him. And Batman was Killer Croc. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and that story was so well written. But the original Batman animated series, like you said, when it became the Adventures of Batman and Robin, the storytelling kind of fell off a little bit.
It was still good.
Yeah.
Because this is one thing I want to talk about. When it went to Adventures of Batman and Robin and they did the Killing Joke storyline,
oh, don't get me.
I was like, what? This is a kid's cartoon. You just crippled Batgirl and you see like Gordon with her like on the ground.
Yeah.
After she gets pushed off a building, I'm pretty sure is what happens.
Yeah. And I think they did Killing Joke a little better than the movie that came out a few years ago.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Let's not get into that one. But yeah, I mean,
they built
a
great universe, and in my extreme haste to rebuild my childhood, I own almost everything. So you had Superman cartoon, which was awesome. You had Batman Beyond, which was awesome.
The Justice League.
You had Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, which were both great. And there was another show.
There's Wonder Woman. There was a Wonder Woman season, I believe.
Was there a Wonder Woman season?
I believe there's a Wonder Woman season, and there was a Young Justice.
Yeah, it wasn't Young Justice. It's the one I recently bought. It's like a random team where like Superman's like it's in like the future or something. I don't know, but I don't know what's called. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they had a great run of TV series, like the Warner Brothers animated. That span of like I would say 92 to 95, 96 maybe.
I think it went a little bit longer because Batman Beyond was after that, so probably like 98.
But I would say Batman Beyond was kind of towards the
Batman
end
Beyond's where it ended because that was the last show that was running at that point.
Yeah. But the Batman Beyond was fantastic. Like a lot of people didn't like the idea of Batman's old and retired, and
it was so cool. And that we'll do an episode on this. But
Batman.
The Return of Joker is one of the best DC animated movies.
Yes,
Batman
the Return
Beyond.
of the Joker and the tie-in game that went along with it was really.
Oh yeah,
really good.
yeah. I never owned it, but my buddy had it, and it was a pretty fun game. I think there's 2 Batman Beyond games.
There was, yes.
But the other one sucked, right?
The suit lives on in the Arkham games, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't like the way it looks.
No, the mesh on that. Yeah.
I don't like the modern look of Batman Beyond. So if you see the new comics, the way that it looks, I like that Terry McGinnis style from
the very sleek. It almost looks like he's wearing a spandex suit instead of an armor suit.
Yeah, I prefer that. Then we'll jump ship here and we'll go back because you had Spider-Man, which you cannot get anywhere, which makes no sense to me. Why no one's trying to capitalize on making money off this? You hear me, Sony, whoever?
Yep. Spider-Man,
X-Men, which is pretty close to Batman in my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
The storytelling in X-Men is absolutely amazing.
The problem with X-Men though is if you have Disney Plus, go watch it on there because they have the episodes in order. Because when they aired it on TV, they were all out of order.
Yeah, which I own them, so yes.
Yeah.
But season 5, oh my god, it sucks.
Yeah.
But the other 4 seasons really good. Season 2 and 3 are amazing. When they do Days of Future Past,
at the Dark Phoenix saga,
it's so good. And then what else do you have? You had Iron Man, which I own. I'm just going to keep telling everybody what I own.
Invincible Iron? Was it Invincible Iron Man?
I think it was just called The Iron Man.
Maybe.
I don't remember. But it was only one season.
Because there was a Hulk one too.
The Hulk one is the most underrated of all of them. And it's so hard to get to buy it now, but that was good. I watched it pre-Disney Plus. I was on something and I watched it. And it's pretty good. And then there was Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And there was Young Avengers. And then that universe ended. And they moved on to like the modern
The Unlimited, I think. The Unlimited series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that block. And then you had such an underrated cartoon kind of thrown in between there, which was The Tick.
Yeah.
The Tick does not get enough love.
The Tick was a really fun show. It's funny. I forgot about it till you just said that.
Yeah, The Tick was really, really fun. I enjoyed The Tick.
It was such a parody that I don't even think anybody understood at the time, which it got a live action show that
Two of them.
I got the first one that flopped with Putty from Seinfeld. And then it got the second one, which is the Amazon one, is actually really well made.
It has is it Peter Serafinowicz as
yes,
he's The Tick, right?
Yeah, and he the show was really well done, and I think it got 2 seasons and then it got canceled.
Yeah.
And you know what? I get it. People didn't want that yet, but
Yeah.
now that you're seeing The Boys and all these shows coming out that are like riffs on the superhero genre, but
Yeah.
just in a dark way, I think people would have appreciated that coming out.
It was a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah, and Amazon wasn't super popular as it is now when they made the Tick. I think it was like 4 years.
It was
ago.
one of their first shows, I remember.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was another underrated show. And then there was the game too, made by the same guys that did
the Tick is a really good game.
Yeah, the same guys that did the Maximum Carnage game.
Carnage. It even feels like that a lot.
Yeah, it really has that feeling, and hard as hell. Hard as hell.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
it was. Oh, well, speaking of video games, Earthworm Jim was a great cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That lasted for a while. Bump in the Night. I don't remember if you remember.
I remember Bump in the Night. Yeah.
Bump in the Night. That was a good one. Tales from the Crypt.
Yes.
And
how can we miss Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice. Yeah, Beetlejuice. Shit, I own that too. Shit, I got a lot of cartoons I gotta watch.
But Beetlejuice was fantastic. I love that Beetlejuice cartoon show.
Beetlejuice was really good. Oh, I forgot one actually. And this is a show that till this day, I will die on this rock. This show is so underrated. It's amazing. It needs a movie or it needs to come back as an animated show. It's Extreme Ghostbusters. It's so good. And I don't understand why I think it only had 2 seasons or 3 seasons. And they're all the Ghostbusters are gone. It's just Egon. And he has a new team. It's like a Spanish guy, a girl, a guy in a wheelchair, and then I think someone voiced by Carlton, a black guy.
Maybe.
I don't remember. I might be thinking of a different cartoon.
That might have been a little later for me, but Extreme Ghostbusters, that was, I guess, in the late 90s when everything was like radical and extreme and all that.
But it's so well done. Like it deserves an animated movie. It was so dark and like
it was kind of like the continuation of the real Ghostbusters.
Yes,
kind of thing,
which is what I like because it doesn't ever tell you that it is, but it references it enough that you know. And Egon kind of looks like it, and I believe it's the same voice actor.
Okay, because kind of like the way Batman Beyond was for Batman, this was for the Ghostbusters kind of thing. Okay, good. I that's one I completely missed, but yeah, I mean, there's another one that I missed when we were talking about anime. I totally forgot about Astro Boy.
Mega Man.
Yeah, the Mega Man. But for me, it was Astro Boy because Astro Boy was like, that was when you were talking about your introduction into anime, not knowing it was anime. That was for me for Astro Boy.
Speed Racer and Astro Boy were around the same time, like late 60s, I think, is when they came out.
But they had a resurgence in the 80s.
Yeah, and they were around for a long time. Another show or cartoon that did that was Asterix and
Obelisk,
the French one, and which is like it's kind of anime. I guess, right?
I think it's the same idea. The Japanese and the French got together, and that's
and it's like Astro Boy was really good. I remember Astro Boy actually, and it was on at the same time as Mega Man. I think they played them back to back, the original Astro Boy show and then the Mega Man cartoon.
But those would always air like super early or super late in the afternoon.
Yeah. You know, there were so many good ones. Like Gargoyles is so good.
Yeah, Gargoyles was one of the top after school type of shows for me. Like Gargoyles was fantastic. And I think it's ever since they like trying to watch cartoons now, like modern cartoons, with the exception of a couple, I don't think they have the same. They either garner them to too young or too old.
Yeah, there's not really an in-between my thing with cartoons is I've learned to accept this, that if I can have a good time watching it, I don't care what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's like for kids or not. Like, Gravity Falls is amazing.
Yeah, Gravity Falls was good.
Gravity Falls links in with Rick and Morty in like little Easter egg ways. And I mean, you have a lot of good shows nowadays.
Like, I mean, the only one I really got into that's a little bit more modern was Adventure Time.
I preferred Regular Show. I don't know if you know Regular Show.
Yeah, I know Regular Show.
They're made by the same people.
Yeah,
I much preferred Regular Show, but I did like Adventure Time. Towards the end, I would say like after season 4, Adventure Time started to fall apart.
Yeah, it did. 100% it did. But the first few seasons, I kind of liked the direction they were trying to take the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the dynamic between Finn and Jake was good.
Yeah. And was it John DiMaggio, right? Like,
the
most iconic voice. And
Like, okay, so I guess I don't know if they're childhood anymore. Like Simpsons.
Yeah,
Um,
Simpsons started in the 80s.
Simpsons is like, okay, so like we talked about Ghostbusters. So my mom used to let me watch movies, and she doesn't even really like movies, but
Right.
she introduced me to Indiana Jones and Star Trek and Aliens and Ghostbusters. But like now, if you talk to her about it, I don't even like that movie. I'm like, so why did you make me watch them?
Just to keep
Like,
you quiet for a
yeah,
few
maybe. And
hours.
that's like what introduced me to all that stuff. And it was like, what was the one we just said? The cartoon?
The I can't remember now. We're talking about Rick and Morty and then The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. So my grandparents were like, yeah. And at that point, Simpsons was not for kids.
Yeah.
The first 10 seasons of Simpsons are not at all directed towards kids. It's like it was like Family Guy or something, but
Yeah.
like as Family Guys you could be in the 90s because you couldn't be that
Yeah,
far.
Simpsons
Like
were a little
bitch
bit
was a
more
bad word.
subtle. Simpsons were a little bit more subtle about it, whereas Family Guy just throws it in your
Yeah.
face.
And nowadays on Canada, let's be on Canada. In Canada, like I was watching the movie Spy
hmm
on Much Music this weekend, and it was started playing at 9 o'clock. It didn't cut out any F words. It said all the English swear words, which I'm not going to name them.
Yeah.
It said fuck like 300 times, and I was like, this is channel 29 at 9 o'clock. Like
Yeah.
anybody could be watching this.
Before
Canada's
it was
rules
like,
are so lenient, though. We
we
always
are.
were kind of were, but shows were made for the American audience back then, and it wasn't like you couldn't say that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? So you had Simpsons. The bad words for them was like bitch, and
Yeah.
like hear Bart say bitchin' was like whoa. We were like what? And then what else was South Park?
Yeah.
South Park started when I was like in grade 6 or
Yeah.
7, and we started. I've been watching South Park since the first season,
And it's still going. That's
yeah,
another show that's
it's
still going.
good. It's
Yeah.
still good.
I think that's you got to give credit to Parker and Stone with that, because they're not going to release something that's subpar. They don't
No,
want to
and
release.
I mean, you can give them crap because they did change from like an episodic show to being like a through storyline, which a lot of people didn't like. Then they brought back the episodic style, but with still a story that starts and ends in the season.
Yeah, it's overarching story.
Yeah, well, but they still went back to episodic, where not every episode has to do with it, which people love. And then they started doing everything was relevant to the exact moment that you were watching the show, which people didn't like. And they changed it. Now they brought it back, and it's like, at least they're listening to what people want.
Yeah, they really listen to their fan base. Like even them releasing those last 2 South Park games, like the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole, like those were episodes. Those are South Park movies, essentially.
Both of those games were amazing.
Yeah. And it was, and they didn't want to release a subpar game because I don't know if you remember that South Park game on N64 with the turkeys. Oh my God.
I do, and I hated it. And yes. I also had South Park Racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had some pretty bad games, so they didn't want to go back to that experience, and I think that's why they really took care. And
it favors an RPG audience too, because it's not just like a throwaway game. Like there's some real gaming aspects.
Deep mechanics in that.
You
game.
had to
very
build
deep
up
mechanics.
Yeah, you if your character's not right, you won't win some of those fights if you built your character wrong.
Yeah. So
I don't want to even talk about fighting Al Gore. That was freaking hard.
Oh my God. Oh, Man Bear Pig. Let's not. Yeah, that was super hard. Super serial.
Super serial, guys.
Anyway, guys. So, let me know in the comments below what were some of your favorite cartoons growing up. And on that note, we're going to end this episode. Campo, thanks once again for joining us today. Before we go, let's plug some of your stuff.
Campo.reviews on Instagram. That's all I want to plug.
It'll be in the bio. So thanks guys again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.